Master, we have returned, a cheerful voice called out to him. The Queen and Ellie were surprised by the loud voice, flinching as they were still dealing with the shocking experience of watching the army that rampaged through their country was completely obliterated. The doors to the throne room were pushed open with extreme force, nearly unhinging them and surprising the guards. They didn't expect to see 4 dazzling women walk into the chamber as if they owned it. A part of them raised up their weapons, while the more experienced guards quickly had them lower them. Witnessing the battle and hearing Han explain that his subordinates were handling the issue, the guards were initially confused but quickly put things together. Knowing who they were, the more veteran guards knew that they stood no chance and chastised the less experienced members of the unit. Anaklis and Arasia glanced at the guards and didn't wait for them to move out of the way as they went to where Han was standing. Master, though we were unable to strike the final blow against the leader of the invading army, we were able to accomplish the overarching mission. Anaklis bowed to him. From the way she glanced over at Brittany and her tone, Han assumed that Anaklis was not happy with her. Han tried to play peacemaker, not wanting to ruin a happy moment. I am very proud of each of you. Though it is unfortunate that the leader was not eliminated, I feel confident that those demons will think twice before attempting such an attack again. He laid a hand on Anaklis' bare shoulder, gently rubbing her body with his thumb. There is no need to feel like this is anything less than an incredible act. Anaklis kept her head down, saying, Master, you are too kind with your words. We are merely an extension of your body, willing to move at your whim and desires. Queen, I am very impressed with the number of dead you were able to summon. Han complimented Queen. How do you feel after using so much of your ability? He asked, concerned that effort may have been too high for her. Queen bowed and stated, I was merely fulfilling your wish, though I regret not being able to honor you with the body of the leader. Han sighed, seeing how unhappy they all looked. The usual cheerful Brittany was not her usual self, though she tried to hide it. All of you look so depressed. Did I not say that you guys did a fantastic job? How could I judge your actions for what happened at the very end, especially when everything else was going splendidly? Tilting up Anaklis' head, he bent down and kissed her forehead. He tried to convey all of his love to her to wash away her sadness. Han went to each one of them and laid a tender kiss on their forehead, hoping that it would cheer them up and make them forget their small failure. He ended with Queen, though for her, Han gave her a deep kiss on the mouth as an award for doing such a great job at leading the others and putting in such effort, summoning her minions. Slowly pulling away from her, Queen had a dazed expression, considering she didn't expect to receive such attention. Her eyes were lost in their own world, and slowly her cheeks changed from the white porcelain color to a pink and then red color. It was like watching a sunrise, with Queen raising a hand to her mouth and slightly grazing her lips with her fingers as if to embed it deep into her memory. No fair! I also want Master to give me a kiss. Brittany broke the calm moment, waking Queen from her dream. Queen quickly glared at Brittany, but it was so sudden that Han would have likely missed it if he wasn't so close to her. Though they got along well with one another, Han was starting to see how they tried to compete with one another. Seeing their attempt to get more of his attention and affection made him smile. It made him feel like he was part of a loving family, which was what he always wanted. Brittany clung on to him and said, Master, Brittany did a lot of hard work too. Han laughed at how Brittany was acting so spoiled, happy to see that she was returning to her usual self. I saw. My Brittany has become so powerful, Han said to her, kissing her on the lips. Unlike with Queen, Brittany inserted her tongue into his mouth. He felt the warmth from her body and the way her breast pressed against his side. The way she was single-mindedly kissing him like there was nothing more important in the world started to arouse him. If they were not in public, Han would have forced her onto the floor and taken her right there, feeling her breasts in his hands and the sound of her moaning in pleasure. It was hard for him to pull away, a trail of saliva linking their mouths. The way her eyes seemed to dismiss everything but him as they gazed at him gave him a feeling of happiness. Without another word, she wrapped her arms around his left arm, burying it into her bosom. Resting her head on his shoulder, she acted as if her being attached to him was completely normal. With his right hand, he caressed her upper arm while also feeling like she belonged there. His other creations seemed to ignore the way she was acting so possessive, likely thinking Brittany was just saving their own spots. Looking towards the Queen and Ellie, the two of them tried to focus on anywhere but where he and his creations were, their faces red in embarrassment. Still not shy with showing off, Ellie stuttered, failing to act like such a public display of affection was natural. Even though Ellie had been around when he behaved in such a manner, it seemed like she was still not used to it. They worked so hard for me, so I thought it was only natural. He laughed off her criticism. I hope you are not offended, Your Highness. Han looked towards the Queen. Being placed in the spotlight, she raised both of her hands and waved them, saying, "They have done so much for my kingdom. It is only natural that they are rewarded for their efforts." He bowed his head. "Thank you for being so understanding." There was a knock on the door to the throne room, and when Han turned to see who it was, he saw that it was an official. The official approached the Queen and bowed. "Your Highness, we have completed the preliminary estimates of damages related to the enemy forces." Seeing his grim expression, the Queen asked, "How serious are the losses?" Raising a clipboard in his hand, he looked at the figures jotted down on it. "We have lost at least 5 major cities, 10 towns, and over 20 villages. It seems like the enemy was trying to inflict as much damage as possible." How many of my people?" The Queen tried to ask, but failed as she thought about the number of dead. "Due to how suddenly they appeared, we can assume that there were few survivors." His voice became thick and his eyes were moist as he tried to hold back the tears. Ellie reached out for her mother's hand, which the Queen appreciatingly grabbed for comfort. Though Han had the ability to bring them back, he also knew that bringing back people would have a cost, though not to him. Life and death was something that had to be cherished, not ignored for personal pleasure. The image of his parents laid out next to one another in their coffin came to mind, as he watched relatives and friends approach to say their last goodbye. Even though he's able to bring his parents back to life, he didn't know if it would be a good thing. Society would likely view him as being cold and callous, but to him, it was better that they rest in peace. Trying to hold back the emotions she was feeling, the Queen was unable to hold back all of her tears. They rolled off her face, each one a reminder that she had a responsibility to her people.